Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris Man. As always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. And today I'm going to do a follow-up to a video I did a couple of days ago, which I thought was interesting, and you guys did too. And I thank you guys for your input and your comments. It was called Things That I Thought I Would Never See in My Lifetime. And I gave you guys a short list of some of the things that I thought I would never see, and unfortunately I'm seeing them, and some of them actually I think were good things. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, near the end of the video, I told you guys, leave me your list of things that you thought you would never see in your lifetime. And some of you guys came up with some pretty good ones. And some of them was like, I just forgot about that. That should have made my list, but it didn't, you know. But I'm going to read you guys some of these comments that you other guys have left regarding that. Sorry about testing. I've been trying to get this fixed for the longest. I put in another cable. It's still shorting. I'm like, when I get time, I'm going to really find out what's making this short out, because this is quite annoying. And I apologize for that. But one of my subscribers, CR8Z13, pretty good one. And actually, I'm not sure why this didn't make my list. And it says the one thing that I didn't think that I would ever see in my lifetime is the legalization of weed, depending on your state. It's as easy as ordering a pizza now with curbside service. And you're absolutely right. I remember I used to listen to this talk show in the late 70s when I was a teenager, and they were talking about marijuana. And they were saying how most likely that's never going to be legalized. And I was in agreement. So I'm like, yeah, I don't see how they could legalize that. And they did it. And what's so unfortunate about that is they did it for the wrong reasons. Because there are some people that have medical issues that cannabis does help or alleviate some of the discomforts. And that's a good thing, you know, because you don't want nobody in pain. But they did it for the money. And it's like there are a lot of, I guess, provisions that they're not going to be able to enforce. You know, as far as people getting high, driving, you know, people in places where they shouldn't be getting high, because, you know, I told you my best friend Joe passed away. Actually, I think it was like November last year. So what I've been doing is, because his sister's a little older than Joe was, and I look at her at my nickname for her is called Mama. You know, she reminds me of a motherly figure. She's in her 70s. She's 75. So on a weekly basis, I drop off grocery. I call her a couple of times out the week just to see how she's doing, if she need anything, you know, because it's nice to talk to people that are older than you, you know, because regardless of how old you become, you still would like to be able to pick up the phone or go visit somebody older than you and just talk to them, you know, soak up some of their knowledge. You know, because you learn when you're listening, not talking. You know, so I try my best to look out for her, because I look at her as a motherly figure, you know. And 2 days ago, I dropped off some grocery, and I called her until I was downstairs. So her back door was open. So I just came up. She lived in an apartment building. So I came up the stairs and dropped off the grocery near the door. As soon as I cracked open that door, that marijuana smell just hit me in the face like a bat. It's like, boom. And it's like, it's so unfortunate people that don't smoke has to be subject to that. I mean, it should be set up, but then again, they still can't enforce it, where you can smoke all day long if you got a house. You know, there's nobody on top of you or under you, on the sides to you. You know, smoke till you pass out. But when you live in an apartment building and people that don't smoke that stuff and don't want to be bothered, now they have been burdened with being bothered with this. And it's so unfortunate that it's like that, because it's real simple. If I don't want to take part in this, I shouldn't be forced to take part of this, you know? And I think that, again, they can't enforce this, that it should be set up with provisions to say, hey, if you live in an apartment building complex, you can't do this. You got to go somewhere else, you know, because it's unfair to the people that live there that don't smoke, that they got to be dealing with this on a 24-hour basis. And it's not good for you. Again, there are some legitimate reasons to use it for medical reasons, but that's different from nothing wrong with me. I just want to get high, and it's like, I just thought I would never see the day that they passed this, but they've gotten so greedy because it's again about money. It's not what some of these people do really need, and we shouldn't deprive these people that have it for medical reasons. Because I got a good friend, and he is a good friend, and I notice how this works. It starts when you're a teenager, peer pressure. Just go ahead and do this because I'm doing it. And there are a lot of people that fall weak to obliging this, because there are people that I know, they are alcoholics because their spouse used to be their spouse are alcoholics or used to be. You know, they've kind of entered into their world and taken up some of these bad habits that are bad for your health. And as a kid or a teenager growing up, people used to try to give me this stuff. Try to be cool with us. I ain't trying to be cool, and I'm not trying to appease somebody else. I'm not going to put my health on the line just to appease you. It's insane, but there are a lot of people that they do that, And like I said, I got a good friend. He said, you should try this to kind of help mail you out sometimes because, you get stressed out. I'm like, nah, dude. I ain't tried to get high and try to escape, this reality. I try to find another natural way that's good for my body because anything you inhale ain't good for you. Okay? Cigarettes, marijuana, cigars, all that shit bad for your lungs. All that's bad for your pink, probably now dark lungs. But, to each his own. But I thought I would never see that day come that you can smoke it and it's okay. You can go buy it now. You don't have to wait for a dude on the corner to show up and get it from him. And that's the thing. They trying to weed that dude out. It ain't got shit to do with your best interest. It's about getting your money. Since somebody else was getting your money, now they want to push that guy out the picture and get your money. So the next one is this. And this one was a pretty good one too. I mean, you guys came up with some pretty good ones. Mr. Robert Johnson, this is a really good one. I mean, the other one was a good one too. He said, the one thing I would never thought I would see in my lifetime is grown-ass men walking around in public with their pants hanging off their behinds, displaying their underwear. And let me just stop there because there are two of those. And let me comment on that. I totally agree. I know as generations pass, the next generation have their idea of fashion and how they want to do things. Musically is different. The fashion is definitely different. But I think now, and I'm sure that my father might have felt the same, but I kind of doubt as far as the extremeness of how we wear or how these young people dress. I never thought I would see the day with guys with their pants hanging off their ass neither. I'm like, really? And grown men. I got a guy that lives across the street from me. He's almost 50. Got his pants sagging. Listen to that loud ass offensive rap music. I'm like, dude, you supposed to be listening to jazz at this stage of your life and chilling out and enjoying your grandkids, not still carrying on like you 18 years old. But and what has happened in not my neighborhood, and we're getting out of here. I told you we're getting out of here, most likely by the end of the year because of the ghosts. But the majority of the people on this block don't own their houses. They've rented them out to lower end people. And I'm just going to leave it at that because it doesn't take a genius to figure out what has changed in the neighborhood, and that's what has changed. Half these people got up out of here, and they can't get rid of their house, so now they rent it to low-end people, people that come in, they want to argue, want to fight, want to hang around, stand around all day long, do nothing, And I'm like, okay, I know I got to get out of here, but I never thought I'd see that day neither, because what's interesting is, and most older guys can attest to this, and some young guys that got it together. The majority of our dress code and fashion, meaning men, is to appeal to the ladies, okay? We dressed impressed. We want a young woman to say, he dressed really nice and he's really, really clean cut. I like that, But now I notice that the guys that walk around with their pants sagging because with the exception of a handful of women that want hood rat dudes, women ain't down with that. They don't like that with they dudes with their pants sagging. And I'm gonna go ahead and even take it one step further. This nappy hair shit. It's like, we didn't come from Africa. We didn't come from Jamaica. We're the only group of people or race of people in this country, meaning black people, that we have no identity. We kind of borrowing it from Jamaicans, and that's fine because that's their culture. Half these guys with this nappy head dread shit, they ain't never been outside their state. So where did they get this from? Other cultures, you know? And even still with business, they want you to come walking in that clean cut. They're not going to hire you if your pants sagging. And they really don't want to hire you with your hair all wild, but that's the fashion. But it's a fashion that's kind of detrimental to you. It's nothing good comes out of that. Nothing good comes out of that. Business-wise, personal-wise. Because again, like I said, what I notice now, the guys are dressing to appease another guy. And I'm not talking about a guy that's gay and trying to appease to another guy that's gay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about heterosexual dudes that are dressing this way for other heterosexual dudes. Only because these other dudes are doing this. Instead of, hey, I'm trying to get the attention of these women. Not to get the approval of this other dude down the street that ain't doing nothing with his life. I'm going to pull my pants down like him. I'm going to have my shit all wild and out of control like him. So it's really unfortunate. And this is not an older man ranting about today's culture. Because, again, in my day, we dressed different from our dads. But it did not affect us in a negative way like it does now. We wouldn't go to a job with our pants sag and our hair not cut. Regardless of what we wore, it was still presentable in the business world, in the personal world. But now it's a mess. Nobody can convince me that this pants sagging and your drawers out is cool and it looks good, because it doesn't, okay? Nappiness doesn't look good neither, okay? It just doesn't. Regardless if you want to call it a fashion now or not, nappy is nappy and nappy will always be nappy, okay? Unless you are an extreme musician or doing something that's totally abstract and it's kind of an act. Because when Alice Cooper came onto the scene with his wild hair and the stuff around his eyes, it was an act. And everybody knew that. So, okay, he's a musician and it's an act. He's not taking this serious. This is an act for him. But, as far as this pants and hair thing, this ain't no act. And it affects your ability to get employed. It's fine if you want to do something strange outside your professional life, but when it comes to professional life and going to work, nobody wants to see that. They have a dress code at work, and they're not about to change their dress code and lower it just for you. You're not that special, but that's messed up. And I hate to see this too. It ain't a thing again of an older man ragging on young people in that fashion. Nothing. Let young people be young people. Let them express themselves. But again, not at the point where it's going to be negative and disruptive to your life. Just that simple. And the next one is a pretty good one too. Another thing I thought I would never see in black pop music being reduced to mumble rap and R&B funk bands being made obsolete. You're absolutely right. What happened to the confunctions, the 7-piece bands? Instead of one guy, then it's another guy that does the whole album with one hand, and it sounds like it. Songs back in the day had probably 20, 30 musicians playing on one song. Now it's 2 dudes, if that means. And it's sad because there's one thing when you want to do something just kind of avant-garde, just totally different. But it's creative and it shows you do have talent. You're just doing something different. Nowadays, half these young guys, black guys, because with our white rock counterparts, they're still playing live instruments. They still got rock bands. Rock bands have not been replaced with computers and cutting and pasting and somebody else's chord progressions. But our music has been watered down to that. Half of these guys don't know how to read. They don't know nothing about theory. They can't play. They just got a bunch of loops in the computer and they cut and pasting and calling it their composition. All you've done is arrange another man's composition, When I was growing up, just about in any neighborhood on the weekend, you can walk or drive through and you hear bands in the garage playing. Young guys with musical instruments playing. You walk around now, you don't hear none of that. Nobody in the garage playing. Nobody in their basement playing. At least, again, our people. So I totally agree with you, Robert. It's unfortunate that our culture of music has been watered down to, or it has become boiled down to one dude on the computer cutting and pasting other people's stuff. Instead of he pulling out a piano, playing it, pulling out a guitar, playing it, pulling out a bass, playing it, got real drums in the garage, playing it, writing. This is all his composition. He didn't buy off the internet somebody else's chord progression. So I totally agree with you. And it's just unfortunate that you would think as time progressed, things get better. You know, you would think now you walk in the neighborhood and you see these even younger guys playing, because there is a lot of stuff out there that can help you become a better player versus being in the 60s and you'd have all these tools to help you become a better player. But unfortunately, the tools now are used to hinder you instead of help you. You know, and it's just sad. I totally agree with you on this. I mean, being a musician, I watched this. I'm like, what happened to the black guys that can play? You know, young guy down the street play guitar. Guy across the street play a little piano. Dude down further play a little drums. A dude next door can sing. You know, and they get together and they put it together and put together a nice little thing. Instead of one dude at the computer cutting and pasting somebody else's stuff. You know. But it's sad. You know, you would like to think that everything progressed. Because, I mean, technology now, it's a monster. You got cell phones now that you could talk unlimitedly for a set price a month. You can talk long distance without worry about being charged long distance like when I was growing up. You know, and TVs, you know, 9 of us used to sit in front of a 9-inch screen with broken antenna, a little hanger hanging out of it. The little knob broke off. You got to use pliers. Now we sit in the comfort of our own home and look at something like being in the movies. A 55-inch screen TV with stereo, you know, audio, you know. And you would like to see human culture advance. Because, I mean, there are some advances like in medicine. You know, the things that they can do now they couldn't do 50 years ago, and they can save much more lives now. That's wonderful. But I'm just going to end it with this. It would be nice that as we progress, that the violence starts to cease instead of the violence going up. And it's like, why is the violence going up? For a lot of reasons. And one is the lack of the family structure no more. I talk about that all the time. Mother married to her husband. They got children. You know, children came after the marriage. They committed. 2 people committed, said, I'm going to love you for a lifetime, or at least I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to take care of my kids. I'm going to be in the house with them until they grow up and they leave the house. And still now, the majority of these young black guys, they are a product of a broken home. Their father never, ever lived with them, never, ever married their mother. Grandmother was where she's supposed to be and still in the house with her daughter and her son or her daughter trying to help raise the second generation. That's not grandmother's job. It's the father's job and it's the mother's job. Now, a lot of times, and I'm going to make this short, they want to just totally give the man the black eye. Oh, he's a deadbeat dad. Like Tony Sotomayor said, and he put it so eloquently, stop fucking losers, okay? Nothing good comes out of fucking losers. You fuck them and have their babies. You think they're going to take care of them? They're not taking care of themselves. And you seen that before you start fucking them, you know? And they nothing wrong with fucking them. But put a rub on. Make him put a rub on and not give you a baby that he's not going to take care of. And now it's your job to take care of you all's children or child and your mother. Your mother should not be in that picture. She raised you. And most likely, obviously, she didn't do a good job, because if she did, you wouldn't be in the situation that you're in. You know? And these are some things that just have to be said. And still, nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to express why things are the way they are and what causes them to be the way they are. You know, we want to deal with them when they've gotten out of control and we just dealing with the surface issue and still, what actually caused this? Let's fix the root cause, which eliminate the surface reason, you know, the surface issues. You know, hopefully one day we get it together and say, you know what, that makes a lot of sense, and let's try that. You know, if I'm going to have a child, I'm going to have it with somebody that just simply adore me, simply love me, and want to commit to me. And still, some dude you met at the club, he's stroking your ego, he telling you how good you look, and you let your guards down, let him get in between those thighs, have a baby, he gone. he's gone to the next one. Then he goes to the next one. And then this guy thinks he's so slick, don't realize that at some point in time, child support come looking for him. And they're going to be in your pockets for 18, 19 plus years. That ain't no joke. And if you don't pay, you go to jail. It's like, wow, is that serious? Yeah, it's that serious. You know, ain't nothing wrong with going out there and having the time of your life. Bed as many people as you want, provided they want to be bedded. But at least take the necessary precautions to not have, after the fact, here comes some babies scattered all over the place. Their daddy ain't in the house. You know, we need to stop that. We need to stop that. Because that's what's causing a lot of the problems of today. That. You know, and that's not hard to stop, you know, because again, nobody's saying don't go out there and have the time of your life and have as much good sex as you want. We ain't saying that. We saying is put a rub on that thing and don't let this casual sex spark a child, you know, that will affect this child for the rest of their lives. And then a lot of times our children pick up our habits and our culture. If a young man see his father beating his mama, he's going to grow up, not all of them, not most of them, but some of them going to grow up like, this is the norm. When I have a significant other, I'm supposed to beat her and threaten her and intimidate her. That's the norm. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yes, it is. But you've lived a life of seeing this all the time and you think it's the norm. There are a lot of things that we can fix that are getting out of control. We can't expect the mayor to do it. We can't expect the police to do it. It starts in your house. It starts in your house. And it's supposed to stay in your house. It doesn't supposed to spill over into the street, and now it becomes a law enforcement issue. And you know how well that works out. Okay? So I'm going to end this now, but you know, I just thought I would mention that. There's just a lot of things that we can fix. I mean, we can fix. Not we got to go get help, or we blaming somebody else and they supposed to fix this and do this. All this picking and stuff. Throw that picking stick down and go home and take care of your household. If we all did that, it would not be no street issues, or it'd be extremely minimal. You know, instead we want to take our issues out in the street and complain to other people who's not a part of the problem and can't solve the problem. You know, they can't solve the problem. You have to solve the problem. So again, it won't spill out into the street, and now it becomes the city and law enforcement problem or issue to deal with. Till next time, take care and thanks for watching.